Hi, everybody. I'm Jamie Vaughn with How She Got There and Next Level podcast. And today are with Anna Arsentieva, who is a senior software engineering manager at Assurance IQ. Hi, Anna. How are you?
Hi, Jamie. I'm great. Thank you. How is your day?
My day is interesting. We're fighting with technology at a tech company. So, always fun.
Yeah, it's never boring, right?
Never boring. That's absolutely right. Now, we've talked earlier last week about you coming on and sharing your story, and I would love for you to tell our viewers, like, where'd you grow up? What do you want to be when you grew up?
Hmm. Okay, so it's a trip to memory lane then.
Okay.
I grew up in a small but beautiful country called Moldova in Eastern Europe.
Okay.
Um, as any child, I believe, as I was growing up, I was changing my mind constantly what I wanted to be. But throughout, like, age, as I was growing up, I remember initially I wanted to be a teacher, then I wanted to be a psychologist, and then I wanted to be a translator. Um, to present day where I'm a software engineer, and
Hmm.
honestly reflecting on everything what I wanted to be and why I wanted to be um, that person or that profession. Engineering, it's actually encompassing all of that. If I want to teach something or learn something, there's plenty of things like sharing the knowledge, um, onboarding a new person, sharing what you know, educating them, and so on. Translator, like basically, if we talk about technology, translating, like what we are doing as engineers, as programmers, we are translating our business needs or human thought, right, into ones and zeros and telling the computer what to do. So check there. I'm a translator. And the psychology, I think I use that on day-to-day job, like understanding human beings, what motivates us, what gets us through our challenging times, what helps us get through like things that is not as easy to get through, or what makes us happy, and so on. So yeah, I would say that is where I grew up and what I wanted to be when I grew up.
Gotcha. So when I was growing up, the Eastern Europe always seemed very gray, very bland, not a lot of room for opportunity. I remember when the Berlin Wall came down when I was a little girl. Was that the Eastern Europe you grew up in, or did you have opportunities that we might not have thought that you had back then?
Honestly, yeah, I don't know if it was the same for everybody, but how I grew up, yeah, I didn't see a lot of opportunities. Honestly, I didn't even know about programming or technology or computer. I think the first time I sat at the computer it was when I was 14 or something like that, and that was not my computer or anything like that. Um, and definitely I could not see opportunities and so on. Probably it was because we were extremely poor. Had to drop out of school because could not pay for school, and getting charity clothes and so on. So yeah, so my experience it was that I definitely could not see a lot of opportunities in the environment I was growing up. It was a loving environment, a lot of
Mhm.
loving people, but yeah, I would say the opportunities were practically non-present.
Well, what opportunity opened that door for you to come to America?
Well, I think it was like a chain of events, a lot of events. Honestly, I mentioned that I dropped out of school, but
Mhm.
um, that was just for a month because I found a charity organization that I convinced to pay for my school. So it was a chain of events, but mostly it was because um, we by we I mean my husband was lucky to win diversity visa. We got a green card, and that's how we relocated to United States.
Okay. So how did you do schooling? Did you go to school for tech in Moldova, or did you go to school here in America?
Yeah. So I initially, I mentioned that I wanted to be a teacher and psychologist. So I went
Mhm.
to college. I studied to become a teacher and a psychologist, like it was a double major. And
Uh-huh.
while I was in college getting my degree to become a teacher, I fell in love with technology. I had a class, I think it was in particular was database administration,
Mhm.
that sparked that interest. And when I shared that with my husband, he's like, if you like this, you definitely should explore it. And he was like all like the supportive type, and made me believe that I can do anything, because in my mind, I thought that that's not for girls, and that's something I can do or stuff like that. But he was the ultimate support person, and the support that I needed to believe in myself and actually go and explore that route. So again, I was not in a place where I could pay for education or stuff like that. So I was lucky that I was able to qualify for sponsor. Like, I think it's called sponsorship in US. Um, I went to university. It was math and informatics. So I
Uh-huh.
graduated with computer science from there.
Okay. Well, which university was that?
It was State University of Moldova.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it
Um,
was back there, sorry. And when I got here, I actually also took classes, courses with different institutions, colleges, and so on.
I think we've all done that, doing continuing education for all of our careers. I know that I have. So um, it's always good to stay up on the latest trends, especially, so you can um,
Yeah.
continue that career trajectory for you. Um, so when you got here, what were some of the challenges that you faced? I'm sure that English is not your native language, trying to break into the tech world. How did you do that, especially for a female coming from, a country that we might not have necessarily thought would have the opportunity to work in tech?
No. It was really hard. Like it was not enough that I had the education or like the degree that I was in computer science. And one of
Hmm.
the challenges it was that I studied, like, even if it's programming language and you can program anywhere in the world, that the language is the same, but you still have to pass the interview, and technical interviews can be
Right.
challenging at times. And the challenge for me it was that I was not able to explain the technical terms that I learned in Romanian to
Mhm.
explain them in an interview setting. So that was definitely challenging. And I tried throughout many interviews to pass that technical interview. And honestly, I was failing at a lot of them.
Mhm.
And in life, you cannot just hope that things will get better and just wait for it to happen, right? The life happened, and I needed to get to work and pay for rent and life, right? So I found a job that will allow me to get better at English, because my English was honestly really, really weak. I was able to say how old I am, where I came from, my name, like really basic stuff.
Mhm.
So the decision was that I will find a job that will pay for the bills and will help me get better at English. So I decided to work in a restaurant.
Okay.
And honestly, that was the best probably decision that I've taken in an aspect of getting better in communicating in English, learning English, and so on. So yeah. And while I was working like in a restaurant, um, I was taking classes on like at community college
Mhm.
to get that technical aspect of English and communicating technically in interviews. And eventually, somehow, I was able to pass two interviews at the same time, and I wasn't like, okay, which job do I want to take? So I was in a good position, like which one do I select? So I think that was kind of the gist of the journey to get the first job in tech.
And what was the journey through tech? Like, where did you start? And tell us a little bit more about what you do at your current company.
Okay. So I was super lucky to be interviewed by a company that the philosophy, at least the he's my mentor today, right? We're no longer working together, but his philosophy was, when he hired me, it was hire for attitude and train for the skill. Even though I was super green, recently graduated from Eastern Europe, like um,
Mhm.
he saw the my desire, my curiosity to learn and grow and understand, and he took the risk of hiring me. So I made sure that like in that first few months, I gave my 1,000% of all my energy, my focus, and getting to prove that decision was good to hire
Mhm.
me. And honestly, I would say that my success was due to the fact that the environment I was placed in, like the hiring manager who hired me, made sure that I'm in a team who is there to guide me, provide the education I need, the information I need. And slowly and gradually, they were giving me more challenging tasks, like desirable difficulty. And
Mhm.
it was good to hear from the hiring manager. Actually, he was the VP of engineering at that time. He said that I was one of his best hires in the last few years, and he told me that about probably 6 months or something like that. And was I felt really good that I was super green. They were not sure of hiring me, and then 6 months passed. They were telling me that I was the best hire they had in a long time.
And how did you end up where you are now?
How I ended up where I am now? It was through, definitely, I would say, um, education, not being afraid of making mistakes and learning from the mistakes, right? And also taking risks. Like, um, I stayed with the company that originally hired me with them for 8 years because they were, again, I mentioned, they believed in me. They gave me all the opportunities and a lot of opportunities, and I had a lot of success there. But the reality was that I understood that I want to challenge myself further. I kind of got comfortable, knew what needed to be done, and so on. So I took the decision back in 2020 March to leave that job and go to a coding bootcamp and learn about web development, because prior to that I was doing something else, a different niche in tech. And you know what happened in March 2020? Pandemic started and stuff like that, but that kind of didn't stop me. It was kind of a blocker in the road, but it was not necessarily something that stopped. So when I graduated from the bootcamp 6 months prior, I um, I applied to many jobs, honestly, and I didn't apply for a senior role, for an engineering manager role. The Again, it was the opportunity arises during the interview. The hiring manager saw the signals of me showing the leadership signals and the things that they were looking for as senior engineering manager, and
Mhm.
he asked me if I want to take that role, take that opportunity. So yeah, again, somebody believed in me, gave me that opportunity, and here I am today. It's a year and counting at Assurance, and it's a wild ride. It's every day something new, something interesting, and it's challenging because it's helping me learn more things, see where are my gaps, where do I need to learn new things, where do I need to reach for help, where do I help other people, and so on. So it's amazing, honestly. Tech, and I'm glad that I got to be an engineer, and it's a passion that I hope a lot of people can find that in their life.
Mhm. What do you think we need to do to inspire more young women to look at tech as an actual viable option for them?
Um, I like this quote. I honestly don't remember who said it, but I believe it's something like this. And my apologies if I butcher it. Like,
It's okay.
if you want me to know, um, tell me. If you want me to understand, something like that. I don't remember, but the very last part is that if you want me to understand, involve me, right? So if
Mhm.
we want girls to know that they can do it, and not to do the same mistake that I was doing, that I didn't believe that I can do it, right? We need
Mhm.
to involve them. And how do we involve? We show how to do something. So I volunteer with different organizations, like in the past, like in one, like if I were to give an example, it was uh, Chick Tech, right, in Seattle. And what we were doing, I was the director of high school program. And
Okay.
what we were doing, we were getting 100 girls from the greater Seattle area. And throughout the year, we were organizing different tech events for them. We were collaborating with different companies, tech companies in in Seattle area. And once a month, we were doing a robotics workshop or a mobile development. So as we were going throughout the year, we were doing that. And I was amazed how girls, like their eyes were sparking when they realized that they can do it. It's not that complicated.
Yeah.
So it's just involving them, having patience and explaining step by step what is needed.
Mhm.
And yeah, like looking back, I know like there was a girl that she actually never thought that she'll get into tech. Now she's actually learning. I think she's in the second year at University of Washington, getting a
Uh-huh.
computer science degree.
Wow.
Um, so that was it's good to see, reflect, and look
Mhm.
back and see that that's possible. So that's one of the solutions. I don't think it's the only solution, but definitely including and involving girls as early as possible and as much as possible. I believe it's something that will help.
Yeah. Could you give us what your greatest piece of advice you were ever given for leadership or the greatest lesson you learned by being in a leadership role?
Um, I don't know if it was exactly in the leadership role, but I definitely I use it in the leadership role. Is that never compare yourself with anybody else, because you don't know what is their background, how much time they spent on learning a thing, or how long it took them to get there, right? Rather compare yourself with, like, compare current you with the past you, with the
Mhm.
like you 6 months ago, with you a year ago, and see if you're moving in the right direction. If
Right.
you're moving in the right direction, then you're doing right and continue on that path. And if you see that you're not in that path, you need to do some reflection and see strategically how do you direct your path into the direction you want to be. So I would say that
That's
that's the one that I try to remember and also tell other people when I see that they are struggling.
yeah. I think that's really hard for everybody. You're always looking around and not looking internally at some of those things that the improvement just needs to be with you, not worry about trying to keep up with everyone else around you.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly. Because it's easy. Like if we look at a tennis game or something like that, when we
mhm.
look at people, like it feels so easy and it's like looks like they were born like that. But in reality, we don't know how much that athlete or that person spent to get
Right.
to being that great at what they're doing, right? So
Mm.
that's kind of where like don't compare yourself with anybody else. Compare it with your past you, and see if you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah. Great advice. All right. What inspires you?
What inspires me? What inspires me is solving problems creatively, finding innovative ways to solve human problems, with with positive impact to their personal life, to their professional life.
Mhm.
Being part of the solution, being part of a community that works towards the same goal, empowering people to strive for what they want to do, what they enjoy, and hitting their potential. And just having fun, right? Like being in the moment, seeing somebody having a good time when they're doing something, that's definitely inspiring. Seeing their ambition, their drive, their motivation, curiosity, all of that is it's super inspiring. So yeah, I would say that's my inspiration.
I love that. Well, Anna, thank you so much for spending time with us today and sharing your heart. Your story's absolutely inspiring, and really glad that we got to meet you. And viewers, if you like what you hear, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss anything. We have a new episode every week on how she got there.
Okay, thank you very much, Jamie. It was really great to chat with you, and I'm one of the subscribers, so I'm looking forward to the next episode. Thank you very much for putting this together.
Absolutely.